November 6, 2025. A young woman boards a plane. St. Louis to Washington State. She's 26 years old. She wants peace. A few days alone before starting a new job. Before settling into the next phase of her life. She lands in Port Angeles. She rents a car. She drives toward Olympic National Park. 12 days later, her rental car sits abandoned in a parking lot. Inside, camping gear she never used. Food she never ate. And items that don't belong to her. Items that raise questions no one can answer. 3 months pass. Search teams comb through miles of wilderness. Her mother waits. Her sister waits. Then, on February 6, 2026, rangers find a body. This is the story of Alleacya Boulia. And what happened to her in those 12 days remains a mystery that haunts everyone who knew her. Her family called her Angel. She was 26 years old when she disappeared. Born in St. Louis, Missouri. Raised there too. She grew up in a close family. Her mother, April. Her younger sister, Asante. Aunts, uncles, cousins. The kind of family that talks every day. The kind that checks in. April describes her daughter as outgoing but private.
Not knowing is the hardest part. I just had this gut feeling that something was seriously wrong. Was going on a vacation to kind of unwind and just unplug from the world. Did not find it strange that they found these things in the car, but I definitely find it strange.
Someone who loved being outside. She played basketball. She liked to draw. She needed her space sometimes, but she always came back. She always called home. After high school, Alleacya went to college at Lawrence University in Wisconsin. She graduated. She moved to Chicago for a while. Tried to build a life there. But something pulled her back to St. Louis. About a month before she disappeared, she moved back in with her mother. She had a plan. She'd just landed a job at River City Casino. It was supposed to start soon. But before she settled into work, before she committed to this next chapter, she wanted one more trip. One last adventure on her own. She chose Olympic National Park in Washington State. She'd heard it was beautiful. One of the most stunning places in the country. Mountains, forests, rivers. The kind of place where you could think. Where you could be alone with your thoughts. On November 6, 2025, she booked her flight. She packed her bags. She told her mother she'd be back in a few days. November 10th was supposed to be her return date. 4 days in the park. Then home. But once she got there, she changed her mind. She texted her mother. Said she wanted to stay longer. April wasn't worried. Alleacya was an adult. She needed space sometimes. And they were in touch. They were talking. April Boulia trusted her daughter. She knew Angel would call. She knew she'd come home when she was ready. She had no idea what was about to happen. Before we continue, if you're finding this case as compelling as we are, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. And make sure to like this video. It really helps us bring more stories like this to light. Now, let's get back to what happened to Alleacya. November 6, 2025. Alleacya boards her flight. St. Louis to Seattle. Then a smaller plane to Port Angeles, a quiet town on the northern edge of Washington's Olympic Peninsula. She rents a car. A black Ford Bronco Sport. She drives west toward the park. Olympic National Park covers nearly 1 million acres. Rainforests. Mountains that touch the clouds. Rivers that cut through valleys. Trails that go on for miles. It's the kind of place where cell service disappears. Where you can walk for hours and never see another person. Alleacya texts her mother. Says she's arrived safely. Says the park is beautiful. Says she might stay a few extra days. April isn't worried. Her daughter is 26. She's independent. She's always been the type to need space. But they stay in touch. That's important to understand. This isn't a daughter who goes silent for weeks. They text. They call. April knows where Angel is. She knows she's okay. The days pass. November 7th, November 8th, November 10th comes and goes, the day she was supposed to fly home. But she's extended her trip. She's still in Washington. Still exploring. Still checking in with her mother. Then, on November 15th, something changes. Alleacya sends her mother a message. It's different from the others. She says she's been helping homeless people. Says she's getting to know them. Really getting to know them. April reads the message. It's odd. Her daughter has a kind heart, sure. She's the type to stop and talk to people. But this sounds like more than a casual conversation. This sounds like she's been spending time with strangers. Real time. April doesn't panic. Not yet. But the message sits with her. Something about it doesn't feel right. Still, she trusts her daughter. Angel is smart. She knows how to take care of herself. 2 days later, November 17th, Alleacya walks into a Walmart in Port Angeles. Security cameras capture her. She's alone. She walks through the aisles. She's picking up items. Lots of items. She spends over an hour in the store. When she gets to the register, the total comes to about $800. Camping supplies. Outdoor gear. The cashier asks her if she needs help finding good camping spots. She says yes. She seems calm. Normal. Nothing about her behavior raises any red flags. But when investigators later review the receipt, they notice something strange. Duplicate items. Not just one poncho, 2 ponchos. Not one pair of safety glasses, 2 pairs. 3 pairs of gloves. 3 pairs of boots. And here's the thing. The boots? Different sizes. The gloves? Different sizes too. Why would a woman traveling alone buy camping gear in multiple sizes? Alleacya's aunt, Carla Abraham, tells investigators something important. Her niece wasn't an experienced camper. She didn't grow up hiking or sleeping in tents. This trip to Olympic National Park? It was supposed to be simple. Trails. Scenery. Maybe a hotel or a cabin. So why is she suddenly buying $800 worth of camping equipment? Why is she asking store employees where to camp? And why is she buying gear that doesn't fit her? No one has an answer. Not her family. Not the police. Not the park rangers who will soon be searching for her. The next day, November 18th, Alleacya sends one final message. Before we go further, I want to ask you something. Why do you think Alleacya bought camping gear in multiple sizes? Was she planning to meet someone? Was she trying to help someone? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. We're covering cases like this every week, and your support helps us keep going. Now, let's talk about that final message. November 30th, 2025. 12 days after Alleacya's last message. Park rangers find her rental car. It's parked at the Sol Duc trailhead, deep inside Olympic National Park. The vehicle is locked. Everything inside looks untouched. But Alleacya is nowhere to be found. Within hours, the search begins. And it becomes one of the largest operations Olympic National Park has seen in years. This isn't just park rangers walking trails. This is a coordinated effort involving dozens of agencies. Olympic National Park rangers lead the operation. Port Angeles Police Department sends officers. Jefferson County Sheriff's Office joins in. So does the FBI. K-9 units are brought in. Trained dogs that can pick up human scent even in dense wilderness. Drone teams launch aircraft equipped with thermal imaging cameras. They're looking for heat signatures. anything that might indicate a person is out there. Search grids are established. Teams fan out across miles of terrain. They check trails. They search off-trail areas. They call her name. They listen for any response. But almost immediately, they hit problems. The weather turns. Winds pick up. Gusts exceed 25 miles per hour. That might not sound like much, but in a forest filled with old-growth trees, it's dangerous. Falling trees become a real risk. Widowmakers, dead branches hanging high in the canopy, can drop without warning. Search teams have to pull back. For 6 days, operations are suspended. 6 days where Alleacya could be out there, waiting for help, and no one can reach her. Then there's the river. The Solduc River runs near the trailhead where her car was found. In November, it's swollen from rain. The current is fast. The water is cold. Search teams try to check the river corridor, but it's too dangerous. One wrong step, and a rescuer could be swept away. Still, they keep going. When the weather clears, they're back out there. Day after day. Week after week. Volunteers join the effort. People who don't even know Alleacya. They just want to help bring her home. In early December, teams find items in the wilderness. A mosquito net. A flashlight. A bandana. Other survival gear. Investigators believe these could belong to Alleacya. They match items she purchased at Walmart on November 17th. April Boulia gets updates from investigators. They tell her they found gear. They think it's her daughter's. But there's still no sign of Alleacya herself. April asks how they can be sure the items belong to Angel. They tell her the gear looks new. Recently purchased. It fits the timeline. By mid-December, the case gains national attention. Dateline NBC features Alleacya on their Missing in America series. Her story reaches millions of viewers. Her family appears on camera. They plead for information. They beg anyone who knows anything to come forward. Alleacya's grandfather flies out to Washington. He's elderly. The trip isn't easy for him. But he needs to be there. He meets with investigators face to face. He wants to know everything they're doing. He wants to know his granddaughter won't be forgotten. Then, on December 17th, the National Park Service makes an announcement. The search is being scaled back. They're moving to what they call a clue-responsive, limited continuous phase. In simple terms, it means this. The active search is over. Teams won't be out there every day anymore. They'll only return if new evidence shows up. If someone finds something. If a hiker reports seeing something unusual. Otherwise, the search stops. For April Boulia, it's devastating. Her daughter is still out there. She knows it. But the people searching for her are being told to stand down. December passes. Then January. The case goes quiet. No new leads. No new evidence. Just silence. And a mother waiting by the phone, hoping for a miracle. But on February 6, 2026, that phone finally rings. I want to pause here and ask you something. Imagine you're one of those search and rescue volunteers. You've been out there for weeks. The weather is brutal. The terrain is unforgiving. And then you're told to stop searching. How would that feel? Let me know in the comments. And if this case is affecting you the way it's affecting me, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us continue covering stories that need to be told. Now, let's talk about what happened on February 6th. February 6th, 2026. Nearly 3 months since Alleacya sent that last text message. Nearly 3 months since anyone heard her voice. Nearly 3 months of waiting. April Boulia has been living in that space between hope and fear. The space where you tell yourself your child is still out there. Still alive. Maybe hurt. Maybe lost. But still breathing. still waiting to be found. Search and rescue teams have been mobilized again. 41 personnel. 5K, 9 units. They're back in the field, covering ground they've searched before. But this time, they find something. The location is remote. Dense forest. Rough terrain. It's within a few miles of where her rental car was discovered back in November. Close to the Sol Duc trailhead. But not on any marked trail. A body. They've found a body. Word spreads quickly. Local news picks it up. Then national outlets. The family is notified before the media gets the full story. That's protocol. That's how it should be. April Boulia gets the call she's been dreading. Investigators tell her they've recovered remains. They need her to prepare herself. They need her to understand what comes next. The location is so remote that the only way to bring the body out is by helicopter. Ground transport isn't an option. The terrain won't allow it. So they airlift her. April makes the decision to be there. She and her younger daughter, Asante, travel to the recovery site. They need to be close. They need to be there when their angel comes home. Imagine that moment. Standing at the edge of a forest that swallowed your daughter 3 months ago. Watching a helicopter rise above the trees. Knowing what's inside. Knowing that the person you've been praying for, hoping for, waiting for, is gone. April confirms what investigators already suspect. The remains belong to Alleacya. Her daughter. Her angel. The confirmation is made. The search is over. After 81 days, Alleacya Boulia has been found. But finding her doesn't answer the questions. It doesn't explain what happened. If anything, it raises more. Authorities don't release the cause of death. Not immediately. They don't say whether foul play is suspected. They don't explain how she ended up so far from the trail. They don't address the items found in her car. They don't talk about the maintenance worker they questioned. The official statement is brief. Remains recovered. Family notified. Investigation ongoing. That's it. No details. No clarity. Just a body brought out of the wilderness and a family left with more questions than they started with. April Boulia speaks to reporters later. She's grief-stricken. But she's also angry. She tells them she believes something happened to her daughter. Something that wasn't an accident. She points to the evidence. The items in the car. The timeline that doesn't add up. The purchases that make no sense. She asks the question everyone's thinking. Why would my daughter have park maintenance equipment in her rental car? Why would she buy camping gear in multiple sizes? Why would she tell me she's helping homeless people, then disappear 2 days later? No one has answers. Not yet. But the story doesn't end here. Because what happened to Alleacya Boulia in those 12 days between November 6th and November 18th remains a mystery. And the evidence found in her car suggests she wasn't alone. Before we continue, I need to ask you something. Do you think Alleacya's death was an accident? Or do you believe something else happened out there? The evidence is strange. The timeline is confusing. And the items in that car, they don't make sense for someone traveling alone. Share your theory in the comments. And please, if you're invested in this case, hit that subscribe button and like this video. We're going to keep following this story as more information comes out. Now, let's look at the unanswered questions. Alleacya Boulia has been found. But finding her body doesn't close this case. It opens new questions. Questions that authorities still haven't answered. The National Park Service issues statements. Brief. Careful. They confirm the recovery. They express condolences to the family. But they don't say much else. The cause of death? Not released. Whether foul play is suspected? No comment. The timeline of what happened? Still unclear. Let's go back through what we know. And more importantly, what we don't know. First question. How did she die? Was it exposure? Did she get lost and succumb to the cold? November in Olympic National Park can be brutal. Temperatures drop. Rain turns to sleet. Hypothermia can set in fast. That's one possibility. But there are other possibilities. Did she fall? The terrain is rough. Cliffs. Ravines. Rivers. One wrong step and you could end up at the bottom of a drop you can't climb out of. Or was it something else? Something that doesn't involve an accident at all? Authorities won't say. The autopsy results haven't been made public. The family hasn't been given details. Or if they have, they're not sharing them. So we're left guessing. Second question. The items in the rental car. April Boulia found them when she was going through her daughter's belongings. A maintenance worker's checklist from Olympic National Park. Pool-related equipment in a small bag. None of it belonged to Alleacya. So where did it come from? One theory is that someone else put it there. Someone who had access to park maintenance supplies. Someone who might have been with Alleacya. But who? And why would they leave that equipment in her car? Here's where it gets interesting. Between November 15th and November 16th, there was a break-in at the Sol Duc Hot Springs Resort. A maintenance worker reported it when he came back to work on November 17th. That's the same day Alleacya was at Walmart buying camping gear. Coincidence? Maybe. But it's worth noting. The resort is just a few miles from where her car was found. The break-in happens. Then maintenance equipment shows up in her vehicle. The timeline fits. But no one's connecting the dots publicly. Third question. The maintenance worker. According to April, investigators questioned a park maintenance worker about the items found in Alleacya's car. But they haven't named this person. They haven't called him a suspect. They haven't said what he told them or whether he's still part of the investigation. Did Alleacya know this person? Did she meet him at the resort? Did he offer to help her? Or was he someone she never met, and the equipment ended up in her car some other way? We don't know. Investigators won't say. Fourth question. The Walmart receipt. $800 worth of camping gear. But not just for one person. 2 ponchos. 3 pairs of gloves. 3 pairs of boots in different sizes. Safety glasses. Multiple items that don't make sense for someone camping alone. Was she buying gear for someone else? Was she planning to meet someone in the park? Or did someone convince her to buy these things? Maybe someone who didn't have money. Someone who needed supplies. Which brings us to the next question. What did she mean when she said she was helping the homeless? November 15th. Alleacya texts her mother. Says she's been helping homeless people. Getting to know them. Really getting to know them. 2 days later, she's buying camping gear in multiple sizes. Is there a connection? Did she meet someone who was homeless? Someone living in the woods near the park? Did that person ask her for help? Did she agree to buy them supplies? And if so, where is that person now? Why haven't they come forward? Or was she talking about something else entirely? Was helping the homeless code for something? Was she in trouble and trying to tell her mother without saying it directly? We don't know. April doesn't know. And Alleacya can't tell us. And that brings us to the biggest question. The one everyone's asking. Was Alleacya Boulia murdered? Her mother thinks so. From the beginning, April has said she believes something happened to her daughter. Something that wasn't an accident. I definitely believe it's a possibility. To find those things in the car just definitely makes it more than she just went to the park and never came out. April Boulia said. The evidence backs up her suspicions. The maintenance equipment. The break-in at the resort. The duplicate camping gear. The message about helping homeless people. The maintenance worker who was questioned but not named. All of it points to something more complicated than a solo hiker getting lost. But authorities won't confirm it. They won't say whether they're investigating this as a homicide. They won't say whether they have suspects. They won't say whether they believe someone else was involved. So we're left with questions. A body recovered from the wilderness. A family demanding answers. And a case that feels far from solved. What happened to Alleacya Boulia between November 6th and November 18th? Who was she with? What was she doing? And how did she end up dead in Olympic National Park? The answers are out there. Someone knows something. Maybe it's the maintenance worker who was questioned. Maybe it's someone who saw Alleacya in those final days. Maybe it's someone who's been silent this whole time. I want to hear from you. Do you think foul play was involved in Alleacya's death? Do the items in her car convince you that someone else was there? Or do you think this could still be explained as a tragic accident? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And please, subscribe to this channel and hit the like button. Cases like this need attention. They need people asking questions. They need justice. Now, let's wrap this up. Alleacya Boulia, 26 years old. Daughter, sister, friend. A young woman who loved basketball and drawing. Who went to college in Wisconsin and tried to build a life in Chicago. Who came back home to St. Louis to start fresh. She had a job waiting for her. River City Casino. It was supposed to start soon. A new chapter. A chance to figure out what came next. But first, she wanted one trip. One last adventure before settling down. She chose Olympic National Park. A place she'd heard was beautiful. A place where she could think. Where she could be alone with her thoughts. 4 days. That's all she planned. 4 days of peace. Instead, Olympic National Park became the last place anyone saw her alive. The place where she sent her final text message. The place where her rental car was found abandoned. The place where, 3 months later, search teams recovered her body. April Boulia lost her daughter. Asante lost her sister. A family lost someone they loved. And they still don't have all the answers. The investigation is open. Technically. But open doesn't mean active. Open doesn't mean progress. The cause of death hasn't been released. The items in the car haven't been explained. The maintenance worker who was questioned hasn't been named. The timeline still has gaps. And no one in authority is saying whether they believe Alleacya's death was an accident or something worse. Somewhere in those 4 days between November 15th and November 18th, something happened. Something that ended with a 26-year-old woman dead in the wilderness. And someone out there knows what it was. If you were in Olympic National Park during that time, if you saw Alleacya, if you saw her with anyone, if you know anything about what happened to her, authorities need to hear from you. Call the National Park Service Investigative Services Branch Tip Line. The number is 888-653-0009. Even if you think what you know is small. Even if you're not sure it matters. Call. Because it might be the piece that solves this. April Boulia deserves answers. Asante deserves answers. Alleacya deserves justice. And right now, the only way that happens is if people speak up. This case should remind us of something important. Nature is beautiful, but it's also unforgiving. And sometimes, the danger doesn't come from the wilderness itself. It comes from the people you meet there. Check in with the people you love. Let them know where you are. Tell them your plans. Share your location. Because disappearing shouldn't be this easy. And finding answers shouldn't be this hard. Alleacya, Angel, Boulia. Born 1998. Died sometime in November 2025. Found February 6, 2026. A life cut short. A family left grieving. And a case that's far from closed. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think happened to Alleacya? Do you believe someone else was involved? Do the items in her car point to foul play? Or do you think this was a terrible accident and the evidence is just coincidence? Share your thoughts in the comments below. But please, keep it respectful. This is a real person. A real family. They're still hurting. They're still looking for answers. So let's have that conversation with the seriousness it deserves. And if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Thank you for caring about Alleacya's story. Please, take a second and hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. And like this video. It helps more people see this case. It keeps the conversation going. And who knows, maybe someone watching has information that could change everything. We cover cases like this every week. Missing persons. Unsolved mysteries. Stories that need attention. If you want to stay updated, this channel is where you need to be. Rest in peace, Alleacya Boulia. Your story matters. Your life mattered. And we won't stop asking questions until your family has the answers they deserve. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more cases like this, check out the videos on your screen. And remember, if you have any information about Alleacya Boulia's disappearance, call 888-653-0009. Until next time, stay safe out there.